Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine too. I'm Elena. I'm calling from Greece. Sodom always releases extra material for the fans. How people used to react in that, and is it get you closer with your fans?
Yes. So first, I have to say we have tomorrow we have a new EP out. It's called Out of the Frontline Trench, and yes, that's because we want to wait until the next album, till next year, and people waiting for new stuff from Sodom. We want to show the people that we are still in a working process, writing songs, being in a rehearsal room and doing shows. But we talked to the record company for releasing the album next year, and yes, I know exactly what we don't want to leave our fans disappointed. We know exactly what the fans like, listen to. We do thrash metal, 100% pure thrash metal, and that's what the fans expect from us, and that's what they get,
I see. And Tom, according to your statement, out of the front line, threats franking and dark between past, present, and future. Bombahangel is on the album that marked the change of sound of Sodom, and Agent Orange is on the album that establishes the band, and also is the last one with Frank Blackfire. Has the choice of these songs a symbolic character?
Oh yes, I think so. First, I think the three new songs on this EP, reflects exactly what we're gonna do on the next album, and also Frank Blackfire, he has a special kind of songwriting, which if you're gonna listen to Down on Your Knees is completely different to Genesis 19, for example, But I'm so glad that Frank is back in the band, and we have in this year, we have the 30 years anniversary of Agent Orange, and we just want to show the people that we cover the song exactly like it's on the original one, And I know that a lot of bands who are going to play a song 1,000 times in a live set, they change. But we don't change, We want to keep the spirit of this song. We want to show the people that Frank is the best guitarist for a song like Agent Orange, because he played this song exactly like it is on the original one, And we also have a live version of Bombahangel, which we recorded in a big arena, and that was a great experience for us, But you have to realize these two songs are just for free for the fans, If you put 3 songs on an EP or 5, it's in the end it's the same price, It's very important that we show the people that we keep the spirit of the 80s, keep the spirit of Sodom. And when Frank came to the band, and we rehearsed for the first time, we rehearsed Nuclear Winter, Christ Passion, Sodomy at Last, and other songs, He has the same guitar song like on the original ones, and that was so impressive, But in the end, I'm so glad that I have 2 guitarists in the band, and Frank is back on a guitar. It's amazing, and I'm so satisfied with the situation and with the lineup, and I'm also satisfied with the things we're gonna do now with the shows, Yes, there's everything fine.
Okay, perfect. And Tom, Down on your Knees and Out of the Frontline Trench, are these songs working as a time bridge in the track list for this EP?
I think when we choose the songs for this EP, because that was really hard, because we have a couple of more songs finished, Out of the Frontline Trench and Down on Your Knees are dealing with the World War I, And I remember back last year, I found some old photos and some letters from my grandpa was fighting in the World War I, and that was very, very impressive. And when I wrote these letters, all the remembrance coming back when my grandfather told me and his sons and the stories about the World War I. And then I started looking documentaries, reading books about this war, and that was very impressive. I know it's a hard thing writing about the war, but this is what we're gonna do all the time, you know, and all these bad things happened in the world, you know. A big inspiration for me writing lyrics, you know, and but Genesis 19, for example, is something about the Bible, you know. It's about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and this theme I used also in other songs like Fall of Majesty Town, from Obsessed by Cruelty, and Gomorrah of the Plains, you know, and other songs, you know. That is very interesting, you know, that reading some Bible stories, you know. I don't believe in God, you know, but it's very interesting reading the Old Testament or the New Testament, some stuff of it for writing lyrics, you know. And but I think in the end, the World War I and the theme, the cover, you know, it's a perfect combination for new Sodom songs, you know.
You've already answered in my next question about your inspiration for the First World War. Tom, how much the new lineup has affected Sodom's dynamic?
I think that there is a lot of effects with the new lineup, you know, because the first thing I have to say with the second guitarist, you know, now we are able to play songs we never played before in a live show, you know. Some of the songs just work with two guitarists. And I came up with the idea to take a second guitarist a couple of years before, but Bernemann, he was not so really interested in to get a second Axeman by his side, you know. But now, if we're gonna play all to the live shows, it's very interesting because we wanna do more. We want to do more shows in the lives that we never played before. And Frank is very interested in playing older material also. So now we want to change the set list from show to show, you know. And I'm in contact with fans, you know, and they're going to write me emails, whatever, you know. They missed so many songs in the set list, and that's what we're going to do now. And that's also very interesting for the Grease fans, you know, because when we play in Grease, people are really like old school stuff, you know. But sometimes you just have 1 hour or 90 minutes running time, you know. You have to choose a set list. And that is very hard because we have so many albums out and hundreds of songs. But when we talk to Husky, which is the drummer, and York is the guitarist, big Sodom fans, you know, they came up with ideas doing this or doing that song because they're looking from another perspective, you know, because they're also Sodom fans, you know. And that was big inspiration to me, change the set list from show to show, you know. And it's very important, you know, we have, you know, we don't want to leave the fans boring or disappointed, you know, because we didn't play this song or that song. But on the next shows, we want to play more songs from Blackfire's era and also some Obsessed by Cruelty stuff, you know, more Persecution Meter, more Agent Orange stuff in it, and also the new songs, you know. But it's always a hard decision, you know.
Tom, you just said about the live performances and the Greek people. Are there any plans for visiting Greece?
Oh yes, you know, yeah, we are in contact with a promoter in Greece, and we want to do next year. We want to do more shows anyway, you know. And playing in Greece is always like coming home, you know, because the fans are so enthusiastic and they really enjoy and they really know how to do the party, you know, when we're going to play. They like the old school stuff, you know. Yes, we want to come back, you know, and, you know, we are going to play worldwide, you know, but Greece is, I think the Greece people are the best in Europe, you know. It's like South America, you know. We always want to come back, and we always have sold-out shows, you know. And I like to play in the smaller clubs, you know. It's really sweaty, you know. You know, you have to realize we are no rock stars, you know. We are not, you know, we are just metal fans making a party, being on a stage for a while, you know. We want to do a party with the fans together, you know. And I'm looking really forward, you know, but I don't know, but we have a booking agency and they get some offers from Greece and we will come back next year, definitely.
Oh, that's perfect. We are waiting for you.
I know.
Tom, Genesis at first place, when someone listening Genesis at first place thinks that is a part of a story, should we expect a concept album or an album which thematically will be about Genesis?
No, it's not a concept album. It's just one or two songs about the theme, you know. The next album, there is also war. Is also will be a theme, you know. I have some lyrics about the situation in the world nowadays, you know. And in my opinion, you know, it's not any political thing, you know. But it seems to me that this world is getting out of control. Everything is running out of control, you know. And that's what I'm gonna write down, you know. I'm not scared of myself, but I'm scared of the next generation. I'm scared of my kiddies, you know. What happened in 20 or 50 years, whatever, you know. This will be also a part of a new album, you know. The new album will be a mixture of everything, you know, of everything, what is a trademark in a Sodom lyric, you know. Genesis 19 is just a title track from the next album, but it's not a concept about this.
Okay, I see. And is there any chance for a live album within the 2020?
I hope so. Yeah. The thing, yes, but I'm dreaming. That's my dream, doing a really good live album, not a DVD, you know. Because if you're gonna play a live show, you know, you find the show on YouTube anyway, on the next day, whatever, you know. We want to record it. We want to record a live album. I don't know next year, you know, but it's my plan, you know, recording. But always looking for some special places recording a live album, you know. We don't want to record a show, for example, at Wacken Open Air, whatever, you know. Yes, there will be a plan. Just recording an audio live album without DVD, you know, because every band gonna do it, you know. That's my dream, doing a classic double live album, Sodom, wherever we're gonna play and wherever we're gonna record it, you know. But there are no plans exactly. We just talk about a new album with the record company, you know. But we never talk about a live album. But if we have some good records, we bring it out. Yeah.
Tom, have you noticed any new bands from the thrash scene? And if so, what do you think about the future of the genre?
The future of Sodom?
Yeah, the future of the genre of thrash music.
I think thrash metal is a music that will never die, you know. I know, but first we have to talk about what is thrash metal, you know. For me, thrash metal means do what you want, you know. And in my opinion, heavy metal music has to get so hard as possible, you know. There are so many bands, so many so-called heavy metal bands, which is not really heavy metal, you know. And yes, but I know there is a new generation growing up who are really interested in historical bands like Sodom, you know. Also young bands, they ask me what can I do to make thrash metal music, you know. I think what is thrash metal? I think Sodom is not a typical thrash metal band, you know. For me, in my opinion, there is Exodus or Destruction, you know, that is more thrash metal than Sodom, you know, because we have some more black influence in it, you know. But I think this kind of music, it doesn't matter how you call the name, you know, this kind of music will never die, you know, because this is something really, really special, you know. I know that heavy metal is getting more and more commercial, you know. And I remember when we started doing heavy metal, that was a kind of revolution. We want to shock our parents and our teachers, you know. Nowadays, you cannot shock anymore. Nobody was going to shock when you listen to heavy metal. But what we can try, or other bands can try to keep the spirit of heavy metal, you know. The spirit of the 80s, you know. That is very important, you know. But I think this music will never die, you know. Never.
If a band want to start now in thrash metal, what would you recommend to them?
I know there is a lot of young bands and musicians who ask me what can I do to get a rock star? Nowadays, it's so heavy, it's impossible, to get into the music business. It changed, when we started in the 80s, there was just a handful of bands who did this kind of music, But nowadays, if you're going to read a magazine, a metal, for example, Rock Hard magazine, Metal Hammer, whatever, you realize that there are hundreds of new bands coming out every month, So that is impossible, And I can just tell you, don't give up anything, If you have school or studio or working, don't give it up, Just start the music as hobby, and if you are lucky, you get a good record contract, and a good record contract could help to get more live shows also, But the business changed really, That's really hard, But never give up anything, If you are 16 or 17 years old, you're playing in a metal band, Yes, it's good, but you have to go to school also, or go to work, And you also don't want to leave your parents disappointed because you are workless, whatever, So it's really hard nowadays, And the business changed, It's really hard. And if you get a record contract, somebody offer you a contract, please take a lawyer who's going to check it, and don't sign anything, before you checked it, everything, It's really hard. But for me, when we started, that was getting a record contract was record deal, there was no problem, because there was so less bands going to do this,
So you believe that today is harder than, let's say, 20 or 30 years ago?
Yes, because there are so many bands, There are so many bands. But if you do music, try to find something special, Don't try to copy any other bands, You can be inspired by older bands like Sodom or Creator, whatever, or Slayer, But if you form a band, try to create something new, something special, that the fans realize, oh, this band is really something special, They were different to the other bands coming around, And you have to find some trademarks like Sodom, If you listen to Sodom or you listen to my voice, you know exactly that's Sodom, that's Tom Angelripper, And that is really interesting to find something new and to get some trademarks into the band, into the vocals, The production is very, very important, You have to spend some money to get a good production, But in the end, you win, But after all the years, it changed, It's really hard, But I told before, don't give up anything, Don't give up your school or work or whatever, But it's really hard. But nowadays, I can't give you any tips about what's the right way to do it, You have to make music coming from a heart, And that's what the people know. This band is on the stage, don't to make money, Because this band they love what they do, And that's what will be reflected to the fans, It's really hard to say,
And I think that people appreciate the fact that a band won't spell her heart out. Tom, at the recording procedure, it seems like you avoid the recipe of the digital production, like the most of the bands do the last years. Why is that?
I think that's usual to recording digital and it's payable, But what we did on our last Frontline EP, we recorded digital, but we use microphones, I know there are guitar amplifiers around, which, for example, Kemper, which a lot of guitarists and bass players use nowadays. It's a digital amplifier. What we did, we want to get the sound like in the 80s, but it's really hard to get it. We just use microphones on the drums, no trigger signals, and we use microphones in front of the speakers, the cabinets, you know. And between a microphone and a speaker, there was this kind of magic, you know. And that makes the production more 80s style, in my opinion. But on the next album, my dream is recording on a digital way, but mixing in an analog studio, in a real studio with a big desk, you know. And I hope that we get a better sound, you know. In my opinion, if you're recording everything digital, with digital signals, all the bands have the same sound, you know. You get the same drum sound, the same guitar sound, you know. And it's always it's always a way of the price, you know. I know that you can record your guitars at home. If you have a home computer, home studio, it's no problem recording it at home, you know. But it's not what I want, you know. I want to be with a band in the studio, you know, together and recording all the stuff, you know, and talking about the shit. Maybe we can rearrange something. Maybe we have a good producer, you know. I know that if you want to take a professional studio, it's very expensive. I know, you know. But if you have a good record deal and they're going to spend the money for it, you will be satisfied, you know. But on the next album, I want to try to get more analog than digital, you know.
Tell me, for all these years, how was all these years for the band? The people still like the band, still love the band. They are there. They are always next to the band. What do you think about?
Yeah, I know it's a long time, you know, and yes, I'm so glad that we are still in the business after all the years, decades, you know, and. But we have no special plans for the 40 years anniversary. You know, I don't like it, you know, because we want to keep on forward. We want to, you know, I don't know what the record company want to bring out something, you know. I don't know. We just want to do new songs and want to bring out new albums, you know. And after all the decades, after 40 years, you know, I'm so proud that we are still able to do it. This kind of music, you know, and as long we're gonna stay healthy and creative, we're gonna do the music, you know. But you know, sometimes the party is over, you know, after so many years, you know. I don't want to end like Lemmy's Motorhead, you know. It's you know, if you are gonna sick, you know, you can't do the music anymore. It's gone, you know. And I don't want to die on stage, and I want to die in bed, you know. But I never mind, you know. We just look forward. We just write new songs, doing our shows, you know. But I don't want to celebrate any anniversary or birthday all the time, you know. That's maybe the 50 years Sodom, you know. That's something to celebrate, you know.
Do you have plans for the future? Yes.
Why not, you know? Yes, and I'm you know, the next plan is a new album, definitely, you know. And that we talked before, doing a live album, you know, doing more shows, you know. And I don't know, I don't have plans what we're going to do the next 10 years, you know. I don't know. But what I told before, as long as I'm going to stay healthy and I'm able to do music, as long as I am able to perform on stage, or writing songs or writing lyrics, whatever, I'm going to do it. Because this is the biggest part of my life, you know. But what I told before, but sometimes the party is over. You have to go, you know. You have to leave the stage and for younger bands coming after us, you know. But I never think about the end, you know. I just do the music and it's funny to do. We love to do this kind of music, and we're gonna do it as long as possible. You
know? Tom, do you want to say something to your Greek fans?
I love you. What can you know? I hope to see you, Malaka.
Do you know?
I hope to see you soon again, because I always remember, I remember the first time we played in 88 or 87. Sodom was the first freshman band to play in Greece, and this is what I never forget, being the first one putting the first step into a strange country, and from that time, we played every 2 years. We played a couple of shows in Greece, But I hope that the promoters get us over, and I hope to see you soon as possible, because we always have a good time there. We always have so many fans, so loyal fans who keep thrashing, and that is what a lot of bands forget, the fans, they're going to pay the price, and they keep the band alive, That is what a lot of musicians always forget all the time, And that is what I'm going to tell you. Without the fans, a band is nothing, Especially the Greece fans are always keeping us alive, and supporting us so much, And what can I say? I love you, and I hope to come back soon.
Thank you very, very much, Tom. It was a big honor for us, and we are looking forward to see you in Greece soon.
I'm looking forward to see you guys all soon, and yes, take care. Have a good time till then. All right?
You too, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.